Hey everyone, Kevin here, and welcome back to my channel. I know this has been touched on by others in the past already, but I've noticed even more often lately the confusion by people entering the L&D field between instructional design and curriculum design. It even popped up in the comments section of one of my LinkedIn posts recently, and it made me want to film a video on it for anyone else who might still be confused as to the difference, because rest assured, they are not the same thing, no matter how much people, and yes, especially teachers living education, seem to think that they are. To give a brief overview, though, I would say that defining the difference primarily comes down to curriculum designers, focusing more on high level outlines and objective writing. In other words, kind of the what of learning, while instructional designers spend more time creating and delivering effective learning experiences with that information, i.e., the how. Basically, curriculum designers, or you might see them called curriculum developers too, spend most of their time focusing on the content of courses and programs, such as the subject matter, learning objectives, assessments, and overall standards related to learning. The key, though, is that they create outlines, almost like a lesson plan of sorts, and determine what the generalized structure and goals of the learning should be. By doing so, the idea is for learners to have a logical path by which to learn new information, yet also one that is still aligned with educational and organizational goals. Which is why, by extension, curriculum designers often spend a great deal of time working with leaders, especially at educational institutions, to create an overarching curriculum that will be followed by teachers in the classroom and corporate trainers or instructor led trainings. Plus, they often spend time researching how companies can remain compliant, observe learners in their learning environments to gauge how effective certain strategies have been in the past, work with stakeholders, and figure out what kinds of textbooks, activities, and technology to include in the curriculum that they're designing. Now, instructional designers certainly do some of those things and to varying degrees, but the way IDs approach it is very different, and knowing the difference will help you choose which career path to follow that you might be interested in. Essentially, IDs create the actual e learning or instructor led courses that end up in the front of a learner's vision. We focus on figuring out how to present the information in a way that will have a meaningful effect on the learner's cognitive and behavioral development. Our goal is not just the what of the learning, but the how we plan on transmitting that to the learner. That can be in the form of a storyline course, a job aid, or a Camtasia video, depending on the situation, and we evaluate what is best given the task and training problem at hand. Does the learner need specific materials or guidance to succeed in attaining the learning objectives? Do they need interactivity or something similar to update them of a process that's changed? It's hard to know, but planning for those things are bread and butter for IDs, and adaptability for them is mandatory. It's about the content, yes, but also the strategies to help our content actually succeed. Plus, it's important to note that IDs have a far narrower scope as to their job, because even though we can and do talk to people at the company to get information that we need to help in course creation, we're more concerned with if the course actually solves the training problem and leads to meaningful changes on the job. This is a major reason why I got hired at Hanger in the first place. Not only because that's just what IDs do, but also because I was acutely ready to create videos for the company and challenge old ways of doing things in favor of a more efficient and meaningful time spent learning. And speaking of time, instructional designers also spend a lot of it evaluating course results, seeing what could be improved, and then going back and making updates, not only when processes change, but when our evaluation data shows a need for a change. We're always iterating and figuring out what's best at any given moment because every training is different and every block of learners needs different things to succeed. And beyond that, the role of ideas will vary based on the business we're working at, and we very well might actually do some of what curriculum designers do as well, hence the confusion that spawned this video in the first place. We do have similar goals and are focused on facilitating the act of learning by creating content that fosters retention and improves communication. We both incorporate and rely upon research and evaluation to make sure we have what we, and by extension, the learners, need. And finally, we rely on feedback to design both better curriculum and learning experiences using that curriculum. We collaborate with stakeholders, subject matter experts, and others to ensure that programs are executed effectively and in a way that leads to improvements at the business. Nevertheless, when it comes down to it, curriculum designers provide roadmaps to the learning experience, while instructional designers create and administer those learning experiences on the company's LMS. Teachers often did both of those things in the classroom, along with being a SME, disciplinarian, counselor, and so many other things that we became used to seeing fall under our umbrella. That's why people moving into the L&D field, whether they were former educators or not, can easily get these two jobs confused or even think that they're interchangeable when they really aren't. And even though there is overlap, in the corporate world, we aim for a division of labor, roles, and responsibilities to increase efficiency so no one person is doing everything, if we can help it, of course. That's why these two roles are linked, yes, but still separate from one another. Just take time to figure out what you prefer doing before making the leap into the field, or else you might end up doing something all the time that you really don't like. Just keep that in mind. Well, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. A little bit of a rambling discussion, I think, but that naturally happens when trying to explain two roles that have a lot of similarities but aren't the same. Kind of explains why people still get them confused so much, too. But if you have a moment, please click like and subscribe to stay up to date with all of my content, or ring the bell button to get notified whenever I post something new. Until next time, though, I've been Kevin, and I will see you in the next video.